There is a common misconception about the birth of the United States, that the signing of the Declaration of Independence on July 4, 1776, was the spark that ignited the Revolutionary War. Looking at the dates reveals a significant delay. By the time that document was actually signed, American colonists and British soldiers had already been killing each other for 15 months. The physical violence of this conflict vastly outpaced the ideological reasons for fighting it. To understand how the United States was truly born, we have to look at why British subjects started shooting at their own military long before they ever wanted independence. Until the mid-18th century, the 13 American colonies enjoyed a high degree of self-government, with very little direct intervention from London. Then, the British Crown found itself drained of cash by a series of bloody colonial wars. Parliament abruptly changed the rules, levying heavy taxes on everyday items the colonists used, like glass, paper, and tea. The colonists didn't immediately demand freedom. Their anger was rooted in the fact that they were being forced to pay these new bills without having any political representation in Parliament. In response, local leaders formed clandestine shadow administrations. Everyday citizens reacted by hoarding gunpowder and organizing civilian militias. The city of Boston had become a highly volatile powder keg, where defiant taxpayers stood in direct armed opposition to their king. In April 1775, the British commander-in-charge, General Thomas Gage, miscalculated. He attempted to march 1,500 troops under the cover of darkness to seize the colonial munitions stockpiled in Concord. But the Americans had an extensive intelligence network. They hung lanterns in the steeple of the Old North Church as a covert signal to warn the countryside the British were on the move. Church bells summoned the local Minutemen, farmers and blacksmiths trained to act as a rapid response fighting force. The militias intercepted the British forces at Lexington and Concord. In the ensuing bloodshed, they inflicted over 270 casualties and drove a professional military force all the way back to Boston. The colonists proved they could outmaneuver the British Army in combat. They had crossed the point of no return into active warfare, but they had done so without any official political objective. A military stalemate set in. George Washington took command of the colonial forces, inheriting an unpaid, freezing army of volunteers who fully expected to pack up and go home at the end of the year. Meanwhile, the political delegates of the Second Continental Congress sat in Philadelphia, paralyzed by confusion and hedging bets. Congress signed two contradictory documents. One justified armed defense, the other an olive branch petition sent directly to the king. The men signing this were not asking for independence. They explicitly reaffirmed their loyalty to avoid being hanged for treason. By late 1775, the war effort was stalling out. The colonists had no unifying ideological reason to continue fighting and dying in the freezing cold. King George III broke the deadlock. He refused to even read the olive branch petition and formally declared the colonies to be in a state of open rebellion. This heavy-handed reaction left the delegates with a stark binary choice: complete submission to the crown or full-blown treason. In January 1776, Thomas Paine published a short pamphlet titled Common Sense, providing a new vocabulary for the conflict. Paine applied European Enlightenment ideas to the colonial crisis. He reframed the violence, arguing that taking up arms against a monarch was a righteous, necessary defense against tyranny. This provided an immediate, practical solution. It gave exhausted, freezing militiamen the exact moral justification they needed to re-enlist in the Continental Army. Armed with this newfound clarity, the Continental Congress finally moved. They commissioned Thomas Jefferson to draft the formal justification for their ongoing war. Adopted in July 1776, this document cemented the radical idea that all men are created equal, finally aligning the war's physical reality with its political purpose. The American Revolution was not born from a grand, pre-planned vision of liberty. A messy, localized tax dispute spiraled out of control, forcing the colonists to define the struggle in terms of universal rights just to finish the fight they had accidentally started.